Around 90% of stock mutual funds underperform index funds while charging higher fees. Why would you want to pay more for getting less? In this video, I'm going to explain what index funds are and why you should consider investing in them, particularly Fidelity index funds. I will also give some tips on how to create a portfolio of Fidelity index funds. Lastly, I will give step-by-step instructions on how to buy Fidelity index funds. What are index funds? Index funds are investments of stocks or bonds that mimic the composition of a market index. A common market index that you might hear in the news is S&P 500, which is essentially just a list of 500 large US companies developed by Standard & Poor's. Another common market index is the Dow Jones market index you might hear in the news. Dow Jones is up by 200 points today. The Dow Jones Index is a stock market index comprised of 30 prominent large US stocks. There might be an index fund for small companies, for real estate stocks. There are many types of index funds. What makes an index fund unique is it's passively managed. Meaning if I'm the fund manager of the Fidelity 500 index fund, which mimics the S&P 500, I'm not gonna try to go and find a stock here and there that I think is gonna outperform the stock market. I will essentially buy like 500 stocks to mimic S&P 500. It's as simple as that. Now you might say, isn't stock picking always better? That's how that guy that I read in the news became rich. Also, when I look at the mutual funds in my 401k, I see several that have really good performance. Now, these are anecdotes, and a 1-year or 3-year performance doesn't really tell you a whole lot. A smarter approach would be to look at a more robust set of data over a longer time period across many different types of investments. So let's go ahead and look at the data over the last 20 years from 2001 to December 2020. And what does the data tell us? 88% of small and mid-cap stock mutual funds underperformed their benchmark index. 96% of large cap core funds underperformed their benchmark index. 91% of international stock mutual funds underperformed their benchmark index. 92% of emerging market stock mutual funds underperformed their benchmark index. There's like a trend here, right? And this doesn't just apply to stocks, it also applies to bonds. 91% of mortgage-backed bond funds underperformed their benchmark index over a 15-year time period. 98% of high-yield bond funds underperformed their benchmark index over a 15-year time period. And S&P publishes these comparison studies every year, and the results are pretty consistent. Why choose index funds? Because investing in index funds will likely give you a better return than trying to pick stocks or trying to pick mutual funds, right? And I'll let you in on a little secret. About a third of mutual funds, which try to hire a bunch of managers to pick winning stocks, they become so large that they essentially end up mimicking an index fund while charging like 1% in fees. And it is no surprise that they will underperform their benchmark index. Which leads me to the second reason why you would want to consider choosing an index fund is because index fund charge low fees. They charge a fraction of the fees that other actively managed mutual fund charges. In 2020, the average expense ratio or fees of an actively managed stock mutual fund was 0.71%, which sounds not too bad, right? It's less than 1%. But compare that to the 0.06% that an average index stock mutual fund charges. Like that's a tenth of what an average mutual fund charges. Meaning you get to keep more of your money instead of going to Wall Street. Now, if you're finding this video valuable, please do click on the like and subscribe button below. Now that you understand the advantage of investing in index funds, why choose Fidelity index funds in particular? And by the way, I'm not affiliated at all with Fidelity, nor do I get any compensation from them. I'm just sharing with you the results of our independent analysis as a financial advisor, which is my profession. Two main reasons. Number one, Fidelity index fund expense ratios or fees are one of the lowest in the industry. It's even lower than Vanguard index funds, which spearheaded the whole concept of low-cost index investing back in 1976. Now let's take a look at the list of Fidelity index funds, 24 of them, and do a side-by-side comparison with Vanguard index funds. And as you can see, all 24 of these Fidelity index funds have lower expense ratios or fees than Vanguard index funds. And Fidelity has gone even further and one-upped everyone by introducing 4 Fidelity zero-fee index funds, zero fees, meaning you don't pay anything for investing in that fund. That's kind of hard to beat. Second reason why you may want to consider choosing Fidelity index funds is because Fidelity index funds do not have any minimum to open an account or to invest. In contrast, most Vanguard index funds, you'll need around $3,000 to invest in that index fund. Now that you understand the advantage of investing in Fidelity index funds, the next question that you might be wondering is, how can you create a portfolio of Fidelity index funds? I'm going to tell you 3 things that you may want to avoid when you're trying to create a portfolio of Fidelity index funds. Number 1, you might be tempted to buy in equal amounts across these 24 Fidelity index funds in the name of diversification. You may want to avoid doing that because if you do, you won't have enough investments in good Fidelity index funds, and you will also likely end up investing in not so optimal Fidelity index funds that are currently not good investments in today's market. You may also be tempted to look at the performance of each of these Fidelity index funds because you're doing your due diligence and you just choose the ones that have the best performance for the past 5 or 10 years. Now, if you do that, that's backward looking. It's almost like driving while looking at the rear view mirror. You don't really want to do that. Investing is always forward looking. Now, the third thing you may want to avoid when you're trying to create a portfolio of Fidelity index funds is just comparing the expense ratios and just choosing the Fidelity index fund that has the lowest cost. Again, if you do that, you will miss several types of index funds that are likely worth investing in the current market. Now, to create a good Fidelity index fund portfolio, I'm just going to be real honest here, and you may not like my answer. It's really best to work with an independent credentialed financial advisor who, number 1, understands the current market conditions and will know which of these index funds are best to invest based on the current market conditions. And number 2, who can create a custom Fidelity index fund portfolio based specifically on your goals and your risk tolerance. Everyone is different. So if you are a 35-year-old person who wants to retire at 55, your portfolio of Fidelity index fund is going to be very different from your friend who is investing in order to purchase and save up for a house 3 years down the road. My team here at District Capital will be happy to speak with you. Just click on the link in description below. Now, if you just want to get your feet wet and try your hand in investing, let me teach you how you can buy a Fidelity index fund. Once you have an account open, go ahead and log in and go to the upper left portion of your screen and click on Trade. A pop-up window will appear and you will want to select the account that you'd like to make a trade in. Maybe if it's your Roth IRA, select that, or if it's an individual account or a traditional IRA, select that. And then under transaction type, you want to choose mutual funds. Under symbol, type in the 5-letter symbol of the Fidelity Index Fund that you'd like to purchase. Under action, choose buy. And under the amount, just put in whatever amount that you'd like to purchase. You can go ahead and click preview order. And then a new pop-up window will appear. Review the information. If it looks accurate, you can go ahead and click on place order. And now you would have bought your Fidelity Index Fund.